Hello, welcome! I just wanted to share a quick tutorial on how to jazz up a $20 Ikea bookshelf. So I wanted a new bookshelf that was inexpensive and tall but thin. I found this Ikea Laiva bookshelf and was drawn to it due to the airy design and of course the price tag. However, I wanted it to be black and this one only comes in black brown. So I decided to do a little DIY. I was inspired by Bargain Bethany's Ikea shelf DIY that I'll link below. However, she does a metal shelf and not a laminate one, and therefore the process is quite different. I couldn't find a similar DIY for this shelf on YouTube, so I wanted to share how I did it in case anyone else is interested or curious. So my plan is to paint the sides of the shelf a gloss black and then contact paper the shelves. There are two back panels included, but they're not integral to the structure, so I chose to omit them. However, you can easily contact paper or paint them. In total, you can complete this project for around $30. You can really make it your own and do any color or contact paper of your choosing. To begin, you'll want to paint first, as this could take up to a few days due to dry time between coats. The tools needed for this step are sandpaper, a rag, a tarp, a primer, a paint, a top coat, and then optional is a comfort grip spray paint attachment. First, I separated the pieces that I wanted to paint. I just wanted to do the sides, but you could always paint the entire thing if you don't want to contact paper the shelves. Since it is made of laminate, you'll need to take some precautions to make sure it will not chip in the future. To begin, lightly sand. Make sure you wipe it down after with a rag to make sure the dust is gone. This will create a little grip for the paint as laminate is super slick. Next, you're going to want to prime. I chose to use a spray paint primer, however you can use traditional paint for this project as well. They come in many different colors, and if you're choosing to paint your shelf a lighter color like white or pink, you'll want to use a white primer to make the colors pop. For darker colors, you can use clear, black, or gray. I just used gray because I already had it on hand. I'm using my Comfort Grip spray paint attachment that I honestly cannot recommend enough. It is seriously life-changing if you spray paint even just a few times a year. It helps to create a really even spray, is so much easier to use, really makes the spray paint last longer, and of course saves your nails. I sprayed it in quick, even movements, then I let it fully dry and did the other side. Make sure you're doing this outside or in a super well-ventilated area, as it is very toxic. After the primer dried, it was time to paint. Grab the spray paint in the color of your choice and paint it in the same way that I applied the primer. Quick, even strokes. Let it dry, and then flip and do the other side. Lastly, you're going to want to apply a top coat. I chose a gloss. They also come in matte if that's more your vibe. It's really important to add a top coat for extra protection against chipping, as painted laminate is prone to chip easily. I applied this the same way, those quick even strokes, let it dry, and then did the other side. Next up is the shelves. So I chose to use contact paper for them because I really wanted to create sort of an old Hollywood glamorous look. So I went with a black marble. However, there really are so many amazing designs out there that you could purchase. The tools that I used were scissors to cut the paper, an X-Acto knife for trimming excess, a wallpaper smoothing tool. A credit card also works perfectly for this, but I just happened to already own one, so I used it. Now, I am not a contact paper expert by any means, so please take my technique very lightly. I measured the shelf on the contact paper, leaving about an inch or so of excess on the side for margin of error, and I also decided that I was going to cover both the top and the bottom. So I then apply the contact paper to one side in a diagonal motion, smoothing as I go. Once that side was completely covered and smoothed, I then covered the little front edge, made sure that was smooth, and then stretched it back around to the other side using that same diagonal motion and smoothing. Once it was fully covered and smoothed out, minus the back of course, which won't be seen, I then just used my X-Acto knife to trim excess from the sides. I then covered the remaining shelves. Don't forget you have the option to do the backboards that are included as well. You can either paint those or contact them, depending on what your style is and what your personal preferences are. So now that my painting and papering was done, it was time to assemble. I didn't bother to film this step, however I will link a video down below of assembly instructions. I was able to do it myself in about 45 minutes. I also assembled it in the room where it was going to live, so I did not have to carry it anywhere. The shelf also comes with a wall mount kit, so if you live in an earthquake-prone area, it is a great idea to do that. So this is the final product. I'm really pleased with how it came out, and I'm even happier with the price tag. It came to about $30 total, so you cannot beat that. I hope that this video was helpful for you. I will also link down below the accompanying blog post so you can save it for the future to get those steps later on, and then also get a breakdown of the materials that I used. Thank you so much for watching, and happy DIYing!